Words can describe how much someone can learn if just by taking action. For those who don't know, I've been doing art for probably about 2 years already. And honestly, it taught me way more about myself than actually learning how to create. I started thinking at one point that I just needed to get better at art. But there's a lot more than just going into that. So I thought I would share what these 2 years actually showed me and how also I'm applying them to currently try to become a full-time artist. I think one of the biggest things I noticed is that I really have the ideas, but didn't really have any skills of learning how to draw or painting or whatever you could think of. I could picture whatever I wanted, such as details or even the vision, but I really struggled to bring that into life. And that part was very frustrating because I've always been someone who's been excited to communicate or even share the ideas that I have to everyone else. I realize ideas alone don't mean much unless you're actually taking action towards them or just even trying to put in the effort. I feel like a lot of people go through this by having so many ideas, just having no idea where to start. All I'm saying, if you just wait for the perfect moment, it just would never be made. Rather just wait, just work smarter, not harder. I feel like another thing that stood out for me rather than just creating is about putting yourself out there. When I began sharing my creativity, I tend to put myself out there a lot, meeting new people or just being surrounded by creative artists as well. And that alone made a huge difference because I was able to get, advice from someone else that does something different. Or I'm learning something completely new that I've never heard of or even thought of. Even something simple like bringing your creative work outside can already spark real conversations with other people. And I personally think this is something, at least mostly in the art world, that a lot of people tend to avoid. I understand that most people just want to stay in their own place and be comfortable, but if you stay there, nothing really happens. And this kind of really applies to people who are really driven to become a full-time artist or try to make it a career. And probably the most important one is actually having a sense of direction. When I was first starting, I had so many ideas and I was always creating, but I really didn't know what I was building. I was just kind of going with the flow and I don't know, just kind of hoping for the best from it. So I decided just to put things out and just see if a miracle happens, like someone from a gallery just ends up sliding in my DM saying, hey, do you want to, put your artwork in our exhibition or something like that? And the reality is that none of that really happened. And I feel a lot of people get stuck in this position where they think, hey, you know what? Why is nothing happening? And they just tend to do things without exactly knowing where it's going or where they want it to go. Sometimes it's not really about making things, but more where you're really working towards too. Otherwise, it would just kind of end up everywhere and you just be confused and overwhelmed and just kind of want to give up. I mean, at the end of the day, creative is just more about what you make, but it's more about what you're learning through the process as well as through the experience of it. Trust me, I'm still figuring things out and I've been doing this probably less than 2 years, but I feel like I maintain a lot of information that at least personally has helped me and redirect the goal that I want. But these past years show me it's less about the rush and more about understanding what you actually want. If you're a creator who's just beginning or just has been doing it for a while, or you're probably even doing better than I am, sometimes we need to stop focusing on doing more and actually pay attention to what's actually happening to you throughout this whole experience. Because at the end of the day, that's what actually stays with you and nothing really else. Hopefully this helps out any creative out there. Keep in mind, this is not really advice. This is more about what I was able to at least experience. And hopefully other people can at least understand the same way that I felt.